All right, so this is the third and final installment in our videos for our class that would have taken place tomorrow. This piece is called the Introduction to the SWOT analysis. So SWOT stands for Strengths, Weaknesses, Opportunities, and Threats. It is a tool that is used and has been used in business for many years. I think from as early as the 1960s, this tool has been used. So basically, what the SWOT analysis is looking at strengths and weaknesses of a company, those being considered internal factors, and trying to map those out to see how the company is able to, from what it can do internally, do really well. And then what are the weaknesses, also the challenges that need to be dealt with. And then the companies also look at opportunities and threats, which are considered to be external factors. So, opportunities being things that obviously arise from outside somewhere. And then threats are also, an external event or some type of force or, some type of incident that could cause a problem. If we even just think about us now, we're sitting here March 9th, 2020. If you think about threats right now, I mean, at the forefront of most people's minds is the coronavirus outbreak. And of course, for many companies, this was an unforeseen threat. For many of them, this is going to impact their supply chain and possibly their ability to do business. So you can see how a threat is different from a weakness in that a threat is driven by external factors, which sometimes are outside of our control, whereas a weakness is something internal that we have some control over and may be able to work to overcome. So, the way this is set up again was supposed to be small group work. Obviously, you're not in the class, so you'll be working on your own. What I set up here, just for 15 minutes, you're thinking about investing some money in the stock market. But before you do, there's obviously a lot of research to do. And as part of your research, which would have involved many elements, you're thinking of conducting a SWOT on the company that you are thinking about investing in. So I listed four companies here: Nike, Target, Amazon, and Starbucks. You're welcome to use any one of those four, or you may choose your own company as long as it's a relatively well known company. And basically, you're just going to list, let's say, two or three strengths, two or three weaknesses, two or three opportunities, and two or three threats related to. Related to that company. Again, you'll be submitting this work to me, and obviously not, discussing in the class. And so, if I had to take one of these companies myself, I would think, like, let's just take Amazon. Amazon has many strengths. They have obviously built an incredible online presence. They have software technology that is to some extent unparalleled in terms of their e-commerce business. The fact that you can be buying things with one click. Then they also have a fairly robust logistics situation where they're able to deliver products in such a short period of time. And then, I guess a sometimes overlooked strength of theirs is Amazon Web Services, which provides a lot of cloud computing and storage uh, services to companies. I think, if I had to think of a weakness, and I mean, this is my personal opinion, not necessarily built on some deep research, I think a weakness at Amazon to some extent is I know that they put everybody on a $15 minimum wage, but there's still a lot of issues there regarding ethics in terms of labor practices and for from the people who are packing the boxes right through to the people who are driving. If you've ever received an Amazon delivery, especially around busy times, you find that sometimes you're at home, people aren't even ringing the bell, they're just leaving the packages outside because they're in such a rush because they have so many packages to deliver on any given day. So I think I guess the struggle that they have there, or the weakness they have there, is around the workforce, how they're treated, the workload that people have. I don't think that the leadership of Jeff Bezos is. It might be somewhat inspirational from an innovation perspective, but from a humane and you know ethical business practices perspective, if you've read much up on him, he's not the best example of being, a strong, grounded leader in a company. And opportunities, I mean, opportunities abound for them. I still think that the web services is a growth opportunity for them. They also have opportunities in terms of, the fact that people really are not wanting to go to retail stores anymore. So you can see they started doing prime clothing and, all kinds of other things. They partner with all kinds of celebrities to have collections on Amazon. They've got a lot of opportunities in so many arenas. Plus, they have all this cash available to be able to do all kinds of expansion if they so wish. I think a threat to them is probably again to do with their workforce. That people are not as, I guess, doing as well if they're working for Amazon. Amazon's a big name brand, but the people who are working there, many of them are struggling. And other threats, around, again, logistics, threats around the amount of waste that they create, and what that does to the environment, threats around business practices, even as it relates to pricing. A lot of their pricing is algorithmic, but sometimes it seems like, it could be almost price gouging depending on what's going on. I think threats in terms of people abusing the platform, because you have third party sellers that could be trying to sell all kinds of things that they shouldn't be selling. So that's a risk. And I mean, any number of threats, regulatory threats from the government. We know that this current administration isn't exactly a fan of Amazon, so there may also be threats with regards to trying to control them in some way. So that's just a brief example of how you could be thinking about a SWOT for a company. Again, if we were doing this as a formal term paper or whatever, you would be much more detailed. But this is just a kind of rough look at it. So how this ties into the work, of course, we're learning about business. This is a very important business tool that companies use, and you're learning how to use that. And then when you go to the studio hour, you will actually have an opportunity to also learn more about the SWOT and do a SWOT, but this time you'll be doing a personal SWOT. So you'll actually be looking at yourself, and thinking about your own strengths and weaknesses, your own opportunities and threats. So if you're, a college student, thinking about your strengths, you probably think about your intelligence, your work ethic, your ability to multitask with all the things that you're dealing with, maybe your ability to interact well with others, your discipline. Weaknesses might be that sometimes you take on too much, maybe the fact that you are not always confident in yourself and what you can do. These are just examples. If I think about myself at college age, these are kinds of the things that I struggled with. Other weaknesses, maybe being influenced by friends or by family, not being able to have good boundaries and say no to people when they are taking up your time when you should be studying or working. Opportunities abound. There's opportunities for scholarships, there's opportunities for jobs, there's opportunities for transfer, there's opportunities for doing well in class, having good relationships with professors. So there are many opportunities available to you. And I think threats, like we said, threats are external. So again, it could be excuse me, it could be family situations, it could be a significant other creating problems, it could be, your job is maybe a threat to your studies, even though your job is what helps to pay your bills. Other threats, could be just the environment in which you live in, etc. So I mean, you can think of any kinds of threats that could abound. And so at the end of the exercise in the studio hour, you also have an opportunity to reflect on how you can use your strengths and opportunities to overcome your weaknesses and threats. And so, as you think about these things, you'll also be doing something called an about me in the studio hour, where you're really writing about yourself and your skills, your characteristics, the things that you value in life. So the SWOT would also help to inform some of what you discuss in the about me. And I think the SWOT, to a large extent, is there to try and help you get a better understanding of yourself, and what makes you you, and what are the things that are going to help with your success at college, and what are the things that may pose a challenge. So you don't have to submit a physical SWOT to me for yourself, your personal SWOT, because I'll see it on your e-portfolio, but you do have to submit the SWOT for the company of your choosing when we next meet.